Two questions for you. If you're driving on food delivery apps and you're multi-apping, driving on different apps at the same time so you can pick the best order, is that statistically better for your earnings versus just driving on one app, let's say? And then number two, let's say it's slow when you're driving. Who pays the most as far as minimum pay as well? We're going to get into that and more in this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. On this channel, I help you with the gig economy, your side hustle, your full-time hustle, making money and creating multiple revenue streams. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. And hey, also consider checking out my Amazon storefront, that linked down below, for the very best accessories for all of these side hustles. And stay tuned for exclusive deals on Amazon Prime Day coming up. So we're really triple apping today on three different apps, on Uber Eats, on DoorDash, and on Grubhub. Now, as a barometer for you this year, my goal is for you to make $25 an hour in really any app in this gig economy. So watching this video, this shift today, let's see if we can hit that 25 an hour. Okay, going online with DoorDash and again, Uber Eats and Grubhub as well. Now, of course, we're online in a hotspot. Those are areas that are typically more dense with restaurants and order requests. And it's physically denoted on the Dasher app that it's a hotspot as well. So the first order, I'm going to show you that in a second, but think about this while I'm showing you these orders here. What is the minimum pay, or really the lowest pay, that you'll see on any order request, really on any app? Okay, now order number one. So fresh, we are on DoorDash here for $6.62. An ideal start order for several reasons here. Number one, it's pretty decent cash flow. I think the minimum you should be looking at is around $7. Secondly, a phenomenal dollars to mile ratio. How much am I getting paid for the miles driven? Just 0.9 miles. And then number three, positioning. It's keeping me in a hot zone. Where I'm gonna finish is still in a pretty populated area. Next, I actually have an action item for you. I know you gotta get involved, right? But pay attention to this. Look at the restaurant. So it's a stacked order. I can basically pick up from a restaurant that's literally across the street from this So Fresh. So of course it's Chipotle, $5 for an additional 3 miles. Now pay attention to this. I actually declined this one and there's several reasons why. And I wanted to ask you if you would accept this one, just generally if it's a Chipotle for this dollar amount. But the reason I really declined this one is really number one, positioning. So look at this dot here in the middle. This is my original ending destination. And then look at that house icon. This would be my new ending destination if I accepted this. So it was pulling me really further away from that hot zone. I wasn't a big fan of that. And then secondly, the dollars to mile ratio. So the other one was what? Just under $7 for under a mile of driving. And this one, that dollars to mile, it's not that strong. It's $5 for additional 3 miles. So although it seems pretty short, I declined. But keep that location in mind for later, the Chipotles. Keep that in mind. Moving on. So now the benefit of multi-apping, we get different options here. So this one now on Grubhub for Chula Indian Barbecue, it's $9 for an undetermined distance because that's how Grubhub works. So the second question that I asked you at the start of this video, who pays the most as far as minimum pay? Basically, who has the highest minimum pay here? Pay attention to this because in my opinion, this answers the question of who's best. In my opinion, when it comes to minimum pay, especially if it's slow, you're not gonna have any bonus pay from, let's say, Uber Eats or DoorDash. Grubhub might be a good option because at least what I've seen here in Pittsburgh, let me know if you've seen the same in your marketplace, $9 is their minimum. So compare that with other apps where I've literally seen $2.50 orders, other sub $3, other sub $4 orders. So again, at least in my experience, do let me know down below in the comments here, but a $9 minimum. And yes, again, we don't see the miles here, but if it's slow in your market and you're really not getting any other pings, a $9 minimum, as long as the miles seem to make sense, seems pretty good. Because while driving this shift, I believe there was next to zero surge pay, maybe $1 or so on Uber Eats, and then no peak pay, the per delivery bonus on DoorDash either. So moving on here, the next order request from Silk Elephant 913. Now I feel like this order is a little more risky. Let me explain why here. So talking about minimum pay, if it is $9, it's obviously just above that 913 here, but it does seem a little bit further away. I got to cross the river here in Pittsburgh, but positioning, this order in my opinion is okay because of, again, positioning. It's ending in an okay area that has various hotspots versus, let's say, kind of a more dead rural area. Got another action item for you here. Question. So if you get to this Silk Elephant, hey, I got a pickup for so-and-so, and they tell you either we just got it or we have it and it's going to be another 10 minutes. Now, of course, you can wait or you could cancel and try to take another order here, but let's say you accept it. Is there anything else that you would do? Well, in my opinion, there is something that you have to do within the app. So again, on Grubhub, here's our order. I would always make sure to click in here. It says there's a problem, and then you go into order is not ready. And DoorDash has a similar thing here as well. So again, is it really gonna help you on that immediate delivery? No. But in my opinion, because all of these apps are algorithmic, it should, over time, as more and more drivers report things like this, better that algorithm for the next driver. Just my thought, but let me know. Do you always mark it as there is a wait? I would. Let me know if you do the same. So pay attention to this next thing here, because one thing that I really tell you here on the channel is to do your own market research. So I've showed you, actually I'll show you right now, look at these other hotspots, again, back on DoorDash now, that are denoted on the Dasher app. Now, these are great hotspots, areas that are dense with restaurants and hopefully order requests. But again, do your own market research. But I do like seeing this, actually having multiple hotspots here in the map. So recall earlier when I asked you to remember that popular tacos and burritos Mexican restaurant from prior, well, a stacked order for 2 pickups from that popular Mexican restaurant. Chipotle, of course. This one, $16 for 4.6 miles. So a stacked order, obviously, right? It's 2 orders or more for 1 driver. And I'm loving the cash flow here. $16 and a pretty good dollars to mile ratio for that 4.6 miles. So here is the risk versus reward that I feel like I've been seeing more and more here driving for food delivery, but it's picking up from restaurants that sometimes, like we just saw really from that Silk Elephant, that sometimes they're not ready when you arrive. So sure, the $16 is great when it comes to cash flow, but there's 2 orders. And imagine that it's, I don't know, during lunchtime, let's say, and maybe there's a line of customers. Maybe there's just a ton of pings that Chipotle is getting across all food apps. So your stacked order is buried in that ticket of other customers. So that's the risk versus reward with the Chipotle, with Five Guys. Maybe I'd say Taco Bell, Wendy's, other fast food or fast casual places. Let me know, would you be intimidated by the stacked Chipotle or would you accept it? So I did want to show you a couple of orders that were actually declined for several reasons. And I just want to go over this quickly here and explain why they were declined. So this one, $11.25 for 6.6 miles. That's not an awful dollars to mile ratio, but I'm not a fan of the positioning. It's really pulling me away from the central area or the hot zones in this market. This one, $11.50 for 6.2 miles. Similar kind of thing here. Not a bad dollars to mile ratio, but this one is a grocery order and there's different kind of risks when it comes to making grocery drop-offs. As far as time, how quick this grocery store is going to be. We can see 22 items here. That's not awful as far as a ton of bags of groceries, but again, declined also here for positioning as well. So why not? I feel like, should we do it again? Let's do it again. So this one, again, yes, another Chipotle here. I guess it's the spot to go to in this area of the marketplace for $7, 1.8 miles. And honestly, a sign that you're in a busy area, these stacked orders, an additional $5 for 1.2 miles, again, from Chipotle. And honestly, in my opinion, you're gonna have your market knowledge, not only for those hot zones, you know, things like the best days, the best times, but the best restaurants as well. So for instance, if we see Chipotle then some locations are better than others. In fact, this location is much better than the first location that was declined. Well, since we're multi-apping here, let's throw it back to Grubhub here for Tan Lac Vien Vietnamese Bistro for $12.78. So do you remember the gross revenue per hour that you're trying to hit this year? Really on any shift, on any gig app. Do you remember that number? Well, it was $25 an hour. So multi-apping, having more options here, at least for this shift in particular. Let's see how the performance was when it actually comes to the numbers. So this shift here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was from 11:35 a.m. until 2:35 p.m. An interesting split here on the revenue side for $30.91 from Grubhub and $35.62 from DoorDash, equaling a grand total of $66.53. And that does equal a gross revenue per hour of $22.18. A note about this. So yes, our goal is $25 an hour in gross revenue using bonuses, using your market knowledge. So you will honestly have slow days. So if your slow days can be, let's say $20, $21, $22 an hour, then that's where you want to be. Because conversely, you will have those higher days where you hit, let's say 28, 29, maybe even $30 plus per hour. This shift had 8 deliveries, receiving 8 tips as well, with an average tip of $3.51. Business miles to 24.1 with a payout per mile of pretty strong, $2.76 per mile. And that gives a tax deduction of $13.50. So over the next couple of months here, what I'm going to be watching are these numbers, that ending number of gross revenue per hour, and really, frankly, where are the trends going? Over Q3, Q4 of this year, are we consistently hitting 25 an hour? Is it skewing down? Is it skewing up? And then of course, comparing with your numbers. So let us know how your marketplace has been down below in the comments. If you got value in this video, definitely drop me a like, and you can also click or tap screen here for my newest video, as well as a video recommended for you, and I'll see you in the next one.